Zelda Breath of the Wild is still the best open world game yet made. Beyond the beautiful vistas and stylized art style lies a meticulously crafted world to discover and explore. And that's because Breath of the Wild makes the open world a part of the gameplay. The game opens in a small dungeon, and after only a few moments to learn the basics, the player is left on their own, emerging into the wide world. From there, the game takes shape around the player's actions. Tonal notes ease the player into exploring and discovering. There are hints, helpful folks, and game design woven in, which guide the user where and when they may want to try things. But it's completely up to the player to craft their own story. Few games can do this, since it's hard to execute. Elden Ring is one that comes to mind, capturing the fusion of gameplay and world, almost as well as Breath of the Wild. Certainly the content before the Fire Giant does. To create this effect, you need a way for the player to discover the gameplay too. A creative combat system makes this possible, and Breath of the Wild lets you get very creative. Powers which interact with the world and those in it makes experimenting fun and exciting while accomplishing something. When you push Breath of the Wild, it pushes back in the most exciting ways. Steal an enemy's weapon, and they adapt. Try something outrageous, and you'll be surprised, sometimes in the best way. Nothing feels impossible in Breath of the Wild. It's a true open world game, a sandbox where all the options are on the table everywhere, and that's really hard to do. Most games give you options in clear places, a specific wall to climb, or a power that can be used at certain areas only, which means you might have to backtrack later once you get a specific power. Now, while it seems minor, this is a big deal. In Breath of the Wild, there are obvious ways to tackle problems, but there aren't any right ways, and much more importantly, there isn't one way to tackle a problem, while other games usually make clear what the right way is, and often it's the only way. In Breath of the Wild, sure, they suggest you do it this way, but you could also do this, or even try this. And it's like that in the entire world. It's not about finding all the backpacks or clearing all the similar camps. It doesn't treat the player like an ant in a maze, just wandering until you find something placed for you. For open worlds, the discovery of the world should also be in line with the discovery of the gameplay, and that should be left to the player. It's about experimentation, trusting the player to try things themselves, to discover something creative on their own, instead of being railroaded into exactly what they should do. Trying new things and reaching that excitement when things work, being able to share those successes and failures with others. There are games that are close, only a couple that are pretty much there, but none yet have achieved or captured that truest form of exploration, of not just the world, but also the people, gameplay, sound, music, feel, to discover the art of it all. And that's the genius of Nintendo's take on an open world game, in their first attempt, and why no game since has been able to reach Breath of the Wild.